Joe on the go here. And today I want to talk to you about a subject of behavioral health. So why would I want to go into the subject of behavioral health? It's because I have had a lot of struggles in the past with our youngest son as far as behavioral health goes. And, that can be very, very challenging as far as being able to get out and enjoy life. And, besides even being able to get out and enjoy life, being able to have a job and go to work so you can make the money to get out and go do some things that you enjoy doing. So, when I talk to you, when I get on here and I kind of do these talk things that I do, these little talking videos, I want you to feel like, you're just sitting down with a friend and you're talking about something and and if this is information that you have, then I hope it helps you. And if you already have it, then, you don't have to watch, but I'm just putting this stuff out here in hopes that it helps someone, because you can feel very alone, very isolated when you're dealing with a special needs child, especially in the area of behaviors. Now, I don't know about a lot of you, but I was raised very old school. I was raised, that, maybe you get a spanking if you did something, or you get grounded. And so, it was very, very foreign thinking to me to think, of, other, creative ways of dealing with behaviors. So we had started working with a behavioralist for a little while. And one of the first things they told me, which we had a hard time getting our son potty trained. He was not potty trained for a long time. They told us to hide the pull-ups, like out of sight, out of mind. And, I'm like, that can't work. I've tried all kinds of other things. That can't work. So we ended up hiding the pull-ups, and he started going to the potty more. Started going to the bathroom more. So I know that's a very minimal behavior compared to some of the other things that we were dealing with, and that maybe you were dealing with. And hey, if you've got any questions, please ask. If you want to leave any kind of comments, love to hear from you. But, I know what it's like to get hit and kicked and scratched and bit. Somebody dig their nails into your arms. And, it might have been very, very easy for me, had my husband had some different hours that he was working, to just say, I'll wait till your dad gets home. Or, have somebody else watch him while I took the other two of his siblings to go do things they wanted to go do, because they're all very close together in age. And I didn't want the other kids to miss out on life. And of course, there was still things that needed to happen, like, going to the grocery, or if they were involved in some type of, dance or some type of sport activity, book fairs going on, that type of thing. Life had to go on. And so he had to go along with us. And a lot of times, that he had to go with me, I was going to come back with some kind of marks. And so we ended up working with the behavioralist that I was telling you about, and, really kind of retrain your brain in a way to think about different things that you can do. For example, they had ended up telling me about planned ignoring and positive reinforcement. And I was like, what? Gotta be kidding me. Like, I'm not going to ignore the bad behavior. And I sure as heck don't want to do anything positive to reward that behavior. But no, more or less what it is that if they're having some type of bad behavior, you are supposed to try to distance yourself from them, not give that behavior attention, and because the more attention you give that behavior, then the more often they're going to do it, is what was explained to me, which sounded crazy. And then if positive reinforcement is, if they do something good, you tell them, hey, you're doing a great job, that was a really good job, or maybe some type of little reward, like, maybe just like a little bite-sized candy bar, or like a little piece of a Skittle, or, of course, you want to give them a bunch of candy, just, kind of something that they enjoy, something little, like I said, even verbal acknowledgement that, hey, that's a great job, you're doing great, keep up the good work, or, really proud of you, just something positive. And through kind of working with the behavioralist for a little bit, kind of got my brain to think in such a way to where you use kind of what is motivational for them. So for our son, going to the grocery store is very motivational. He loves the grocery store. It's like you've taken him to Disneyland, going to the grocery store. I don't know, we're pulling in the parking lot and he's like, I can't wait. Like I said, he was pretty much nonverbal, but he's developed a little bit more, and he has a few words. So, kind of what we did is, I started telling him, hey, we got to make choices. You have to make choices. We might have to put something back, because they can't buy everything off the shelves that they're wanting to buy. And so I had decided we was going to start doing behavior outings because, the grocery store was such a big motivation for him, getting his cheese crackers and, different things that he likes to get from the grocery store. So first, we would go to a store that he didn't necessarily care for, like, a clothes store or the Dollar Tree, or, something where he was not going to be able to buy anything at that store. It was, we're going to go to this store first. You're going to have to behave yourself. If you are not, you have bad behavior, that's less stuff you're going to get when we go to the grocery store. So I was still using the grocery store as a motivational tool. And so then we would get to the grocery store and, like I told you, he would have to make choices. So, if he kind of started to get like a little too many things, then I was like, okay, now you're getting too much stuff. So you're going to have to make a choice. You're going to have to put one of these back. And it's hard for him, and maybe for your loved one, it may be hard to pick from an assortment of items. So kind of what I would do is I would hold up a couple of things. Be like, do you want to get this? Usually the thing that he just picked up. Do you want to get this, or do you want to put this back? Let him pick from the two which one he wanted to put back. Now, if he picked one he wanted to put back, we'd walk over the shelf and we'd put it back, and it all went fine, and that was great, and that was all good. If he had a behavior, if he started getting up in my face, acting like he was going to do something to me, bite me, scratch me, something of that nature, then I was just like, okay, well, then now not only do you not get this item that you wanted to get, but now you need to pick out something else that you're going to put back. And so that was kind of his repercussions for having a bad behavior. And then if he was still kind of acting up, then we would just sit down right there, just kind of try to get over out of the way. And I'd be like, sit down. And so he would just, I'd have him sit on the floor, and he'd just kind of do his clapping thing and sit there and rock for a minute and kind of, make some of the noises that he makes. And then I would just give it a couple of minutes, and then I would say, okay, are you ready to go put your item back? Because we don't act like that. And so then he would have to get up, and once he's calmed down, and then I would have him take the item that he's now chosen to put back. When we would walk back to that spot of the store, and then he has to put that back on the shelves. Well, once he puts it back on the shelves, I again explain to him, okay, do you understand why you're having to put this back? you were trying to be mean, you were trying to pinch me, or whatever it was that he was trying to do. And so we don't act like that. So now you've had to pick to put an item back. You have lost now one of the things that you wanted to get because you were having a fit about, making choices. And we all had to make choices. So now you don't act like that, and you got to put this item back. So, and maybe for you, for your loved one, it's not the grocery store, but, and we do this other places too, choices, and then, you can have a fit if it's not the way it wants that they want it to go. So just kind of finding what motivates them, and, kind of using that, because, like I had, even when I was talking to the behavioralist, they said, I had a loved one that said, hey, if he pinches me, I'm going to pinch him back. And it's like, that is some of people's thinking, show them how it feels. But as the doctor explained to me, or the behavioralist explained to me as well, that in those types of situations, you are just telling them that it's okay. And so it's, like I said, it's a completely different way of retraining your brain on thinking on how to deal with those types of situations and those behaviors. And so I highly recommend working with a behavioralist, because I am not a behavioralist. I'm just a mother that hopes that I can help you get out of that spot in your life, if that's what you're going through right now, so that you can enjoy your life more and your loved one can enjoy it with you. We have gotten to a very, very good spot. Now I know, like right after COVID, our son had gotten quite a bit taller during that time. And so the first time we went into the store after that, really tried to throw his weight around. He knew that he was bigger, and so he tried. And so I just had to kind of get right back with him and was like, okay, now that the dust is settling a little bit with all this COVID stuff, we're going to have to get more on these behavior outings again, because he's just, we hadn't been out for a while because of all that. So we just kind of, the more we take him out now, the more, the better it is. And, like I said, I had to take him out when, all the kids were really close in age, and, Dad wasn't home yet from work. And so we all had to go. He had to go along. And so I don't know if that was helpful or not. I would say that the earliest, the soonest that you start on these behaviors, the better. Now, I've never been a parent that's wanted to push medication. If that's what you've had to do, no, not saying anything bad, no fault. That's just not something I wanted to do. I wanted to deal with the behavior. I wanted to correct the behavior. I did not just want to give him medication. Also because of a chromosome disorder he has, and I'll make a video later on about some what that is and what chromosome disorders are, and how that what that is and what that kind of looks like, and how that can affect someone. But there's a lot of other medical issues that could have went along with that chromosome disorder that he has. So I didn't want to put him on medication that could have possible side effects when we were already doing pretty well with him not having a lot of these possible medical complications that went along with his chromosome disorder. So, I wanted to deal with the behavior. So, I would recommend, talking to a behavioralist. And there's hope out there. Just keep working at it so you both can enjoy life together. I know I had some very loving people in my life that said things to me, such as, I don't know what you're going to do when he's as big as you are. I don't know what you're going to do when he is older and bigger and you're not going to be able to keep him. He's not going to be able to live at home with you. And that really scared me, because I can't imagine at that time or now ever, putting him somewhere, wherever that place is. I can't imagine him not being here with me. So, unless he could take care of himself. Of course, we all want our children to be independent and be able to take care of themselves. But since he can't, I don't want somebody else doing it. So, that really lit a fire under me to try to get a handle on these behaviors. And like I said, we're in a really good spot now. I will share one thing with you. One thing that we still have kind of struggled with up until recently. He's very sensitive about his face and his mouth, his teeth area especially. So teeth brushing has always been a huge, big issue with him. So we recently found this thing called Auto Brush. I'll show to you. I'm not being sponsored by this. I have no affiliation with Auto Brush whatsoever, other than the fact that I'm just a customer that bought something from them in hopes that it would help. But other than that, I'm not being paid to say this. But this little thing here, this is called, you see it? It's an auto brush. And you turn, oh wow, that's the light, I guess. Okay, I'll hit it again. Yeah. So it's got a few different speeds on it. And these are, hang on, try to turn it off. These come off, these are replaceable. So you can replace these just like you would a toothbrush. So you don't have to buy the whole thing again. And it comes with a little charger thing too. I didn't bring the cord in here with me, but there's the little kind of a magnetic charging cable goes right there. And that just kind of sits on this little auto brush stand. And so it just kind of sits on there like so. And it charges. And when I first got it, I thought, it's worth a shot. It cost about $100. And I thought, it's worth a shot. He barely lets me get near him with a toothbrush. It's almost a two-person job. Like, I don't know if he's going to let me get near him with this big mouthpiece with all these brushes on it. But I was pleasantly surprised that whenever we got it, I said, here, let's try something. Open your mouth. And I had no problem with him right away. He let me put it in his mouth. We've been using it to brush his teeth. It has honestly been a lifesaver when it comes to the behaviors of someone being very sensitive to their mouth and not wanting to brush their teeth. It's kind of our biggest struggle at the moment. We don't really deal with too many behaviors anymore. It's more so just tries to intimidate you sometimes. He might kind of get up in your face a little bit and, kind of clap really aggressively. And it's like, yeah, what are you doing? So he doesn't really, attempt or try to do things to another person anymore. Just kind of more so, I guess, is kind of like in his way of telling you that he's upset. And oh, and I did get this. I kind of did the bundle. There's a bundle thing. You could get the toothbrush thing, the charger, and they kind of have this little foam toothpaste. They got different flavors that you can pick out. And so I kind of got that with the bundle. It's toothpaste. I don't know if you could use regular toothpaste on it. I don't think it would hurt. But this is kind of like a foam, like little toothpaste that you squirt out on the brush there. And like I said, this one's mint, but they got different flavors. I forget what all, but I think if there's like a bubble gum and maybe a strawberry. I think there was maybe 3 other kind of kid-friendly flavors, but he's done okay with like the the flavor of toothpaste and stuff, kind of the minty flavor. It's just kind of been the actual sticking of the toothbrush. But no, that's been a lifesaver. That has really helped. So, you know, again, not being paid to say this. I'm just a parent telling you, hey, this has helped us. This has worked for us. So check it out just from another person's perspective on not being paid to say anything about it. It just has helped. So if you're struggling with that. So again, you know, if you're struggling with behaviors, the sooner that you reach out to a behavioralist, or I hope this video helped. And, you know, maybe if you're not going to reach out to a behavioralist, that you just try to maybe think about some things differently, some different ways you can handle those behaviors. And, you know, I would say, you know, as hard as it is, don't leave them home. You know, even though it's hard to take them out, I think the more that you take them out, the more that they have to get out and be exposed to the world and experience life, that's going to benefit you in the long run. And so, hey, I mean this video with all the love in the world, and I hope it helps you to get out there and enjoy life. If you can't right now, one of these days, I hope that you'll get there. There's lots of things we didn't think that we were going to be able to do, that we finally got to the point where we can enjoy life more together. So I hope this helped you, and I hope you're taking care of yourself. And until you go with me next time, peace and love.
I don't know if I can find my way.